All right, it's now 6 o'clock. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Granite Falls School Board on March 16th, 2022. Fun thing. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sure. Thank you, everyone. In attendance this evening, we have our board directors, Director Kincaid, Director Carey, myself, and Director Beach, as well as Dr. Middleton. Let's move on right into item 2, recognition and communication. 2A is oath of office for District 1 board member. I'll turn it over to Dr. Middleton.
All right, so we're going to swear in a new board member tonight. So Peter, if you would come join me up here. I'll have you stand right there. You raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Peter Ledoux. I, Peter Ledoux. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington.
Laws of the United States, and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington.
That I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge.
And I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge
The duties of the office of Granite Falls School District 332, Director 1.
the duties of the office of Granite Falls School District number 332, Director 1,
According to the law, to the best of my ability.
according to the law, to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Welcome, Director Ledoux. I'll also acknowledge that you're in attendance now that you're a director.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here with us.
Happy to be here.
We're going to move on to item 2B, Success in Education Award. I'm going to turn this over to Director Middleton to take us through this wonderful process.
As Director Butler usually says that this is our favorite night. And I think the board loves to celebrate the success of our students and our staff and come together quarterly to just celebrate all the great things that our students, your sons and daughters, our staff members, and how they're performing. And we've mentioned this over the last 2 years that there's been just such a characteristic of perseverance, especially with our students who are recognized on these nights, because when it's been very challenging because of health mandates and illness within our families and with our classmates and all of those factors, our students and staff have just persevered. And so this is a real night of celebration. So we're going to start with Mountain Way, and I'm going to call Mrs. Weddle and Ms. Skursky to come up. And once they introduce each student, the board really wants to acknowledge the student as well. And so as they're presented, the students will just walk right through and probably fist bump or high five our board of directors. And after that, they'll walk around and there's some pictures. Mr. Cruz is over there. Raise your hand, Mr. Cruz. We want to get some pictures and we'll take them to the back and then they'll return to their seat. So, all right, Mrs. Weddle.
Thank you. We are really lucky to be able to present the first awards tonight to our Mountain Way recipients. So for our first award recipient, we would like to call Avery Gomez up to the podium. So Avery is a kindergartner in Miss Dowdy's classroom, and this is what Miss Dowdy would like to share about Avery. Avery is an amazing kiddo. They match. That's so cute. I love it. She is polite, friendly, and the best helper. Avery works incredibly hard at everything she does in kindergarten and strives to know letters, and they strive to become great readers. But Avery knows all of her letter sounds and is reading small readers independently. That's awesome. The confidence and look on her face when she's read a book to a teacher or a classmate is priceless. To say Avery is helpful is an understatement. She's always asking what she can do to help her classmates or something she can do to make her teacher's life easier. Frequently, she will ask to read to Miss Dowdy or practice her letters and numbers during choice time. She is one extraordinary kid. After meeting someone once, she will never forget their name. She is constantly saying hi to adults throughout the building, putting on a smile on her face, and then that brings a smile to everyone else's face. Miss Dowdy is beyond thankful that during a tough year, she has a sweet, sassy, and thoughtful student like Avery in her class. Avery's favorite thing to do in Miss Dowdy's class is to play with the cubes and count them. She enjoys hanging out with her friends throughout the day at school. And in music, her favorite activity is playing instruments and moving to the sounds. During recess, she likes to play on the monkey bars and swing. She loves to eat popcorn, right? Buttery popcorn. And she has two sisters, and she loves to clean her house. That's awesome. When she grows up, she wants to be a coffee stand lady and make coffee for everyone. And then she had one last thought, and she came back to let us know that she wants to bring Miss Dowdy a coffee every day. Avery is the fabulous daughter of Abel and Ashley Gomez, and we're so lucky to have her as part of our Tiger family. Way to be Tiger-rific.
Great high.
Power behind that. Oh, yeah.
I know, I'll be nice after.
Good job.
Be nice.
Okay, our next Success in Education Award recipient is Elena.
Okay, they match also. Yeah. So everybody's here.
Okay, Faye is the first student in Miss Williams' class at Mountain Elementary. Faye gives meaning to the phrase "a pleasure to have in class." Faye is attentive, creative, thoughtful, and enthusiastic toward everything we do in class. Her zest for school is contagious, and she makes this challenging year seem as bright as any other. Even through several quarantines, Faye has kept her positive attitude and thirst for learning and all things school. Faye loves school. Her favorite thing to do in class is math. It's easy and fun. She enjoys adding through numbers, finding the 10 partners first, and then adding on the rest. She enjoys choice time where she gets to play school with her friends. She looks forward to going to STEAM class where she gets to do things like baskets and windows. Faye sets goals independently and challenges herself to meet them. Mrs. Williams' favorite goal for Faye is that she wants to become a teacher. Right now, convincing her mom to buy her cardigan so that she can match Mrs. Williams at school. Mrs. Williams loves telling her she can't wait for her to come back to the elementary. At home, Faye likes to eat candy. In the Butler home, her parents don't have much candy at the house because they know she will continually ask for more. Mountain Wind, Granite Falls School District is lucky to have you, Faye. Hopefully someday you'll be teaching right alongside of us. Keep working hard with that great big smile. Faye is the amazing daughter of Robert and Minnie Butler, Faye, I speak for all of us when I say we are so proud of you.
Our next successive in education award recipient is Elena Redmond Noble. Come on up. Elena is a second grader in Miss Decker's classroom, and Mrs. Decker is unable to be here tonight. Elena is a kind and respectful friend to all her classmates. She is organized, focused, and enthusiastic about attending every school day and every learning activity. She takes initiative for her own learning by asking really good clarifying questions and getting everything she can out of math, reading, and social studies. Elena is very creative. During art experiences, Elena has fun and takes her time to creatively use the materials to express herself in interesting and beautiful ways. She loves to learn and to help others learn. Elena always follows the Cub expectations and listens to her teacher. Her favorite thing to do in school is to play at recess with her friends. When she grows up, she wants to be a baker. She likes to bake cakes and she thinks that they turn out pretty delicious. She also likes to make chicken legs and mashed potatoes for dinner to help out her family. That's awesome. We're very proud of you, Elena. She is the wonderful daughter of Andres Renega Torres and Haley Margaret Torres. Elena, way to be tiger-ripping.
Congratulations.
Your choice.
Great job. Good job.
I'm gonna go down here.
Good job.
We're going to move to Monte Cristo and those recipients. And so Ms. Wynn and Ms. Wright, come on up.
First recipient is Chloe Foreman. Just want to make sure that you know which one is the principal and which one is the student. This is Chloe. I'm here to take Lynn. We have Ms. Ryder, the principal. Chloe has been an exceptional example of minor pride throughout the school year. Minor pride is an individual that consistently shows the qualities of being a responsible, respectful, safe, and kind person. She is respectful in the way that she participates and leads her group discussions, always making sure her classmates have an opportunity to voice their opinion. Chloe is responsible in the way that she takes care of her supplies and completes her assignments. She always looks for opportunities throughout the day to help other students or the class as a whole. An example of this was seen when classmates was having trouble picking up some books, and Chloe stepped in to assist the student. Chloe is an outstanding example of what it means to have minor pride. When Chloe is not at school, she enjoys cheerleading and horseback riding. She also likes to play video games like Roblox, Fortnite, and Call of Duty. Chloe's favorite subject is math, especially fractions. How many of us can say that? One of Chloe's favorite memories so far this year is science. Chloe wants to become a veterinarian when she grows up. So remember to bring your pets to Chloe. Congratulations, Chloe.
Congratulations.
Good job, Chloe.
Grade award recipient is Mason Brown. When it came time for Mrs. Cook to nominate the Success Education winner, there was no doubt in her mind that Mason deserved this award. He not only strives for and achieves academic excellence, but he excels at behavior and has an amazing work ethic. Mason is a leader that truly examples to all of us. We begin each morning with the Monte Cristo Pledge. We are responsible, respectful, safe, and kind. Those are our 4 school rules, and Mason is a true example of what that looks like. Mrs. Cook knows that she can consistently count on Mason to uphold all 4 of these pillars that our students strive for. Mason always follows and is respectful of expectations. When they're in the classroom, at specialists, in the lunchroom, hallways, or on the playground, Ms. Cook knows that he will be following the norms and expectations for that environment. He's a great leader and an example to all of his classmates about what it looks like to follow those expectations. Mason's effort towards his academics always exceeds Mrs. Cook's expectations. He is respectful and attentive during instructional time. He gets right to his work and he uses his time wisely. He has an eager mind and he wants to be challenged to learn more. Mrs. Cook is extremely happy that Mason is a part of her classroom family this year. She appreciates and respects the hard work, effort, and attentiveness that Mason puts forth every day. She's proud of his accomplishments, and Mrs. Cook cannot wait to see where his aspirations and persistence will take him. When Mason is not at school, he likes to spend his free time playing frisbee with his little brother. He really enjoys math, and he's improved in his reading skills. When Mason grows up, he would like to be a teacher, and I'm gonna add this part, and maybe join the Monte Cristo staff as one of our teachers, right? Nice job, Mason.
Congratulations.
Good job, Mason.
Good job, Mason.
Hand you up on it.
Rose, Victoria, and teacher, and Bennett. It's not. Rose has been an exceptional example of minor pride throughout the school year. Minor pride is an individual that consistently shows the qualities of being responsible, respectful, and kind person. Rose is not only a good student, she's also a friend to everyone. She is always kind to her peers and respectful to adults. When asked to help with a class chore or to help a student, she does so happily. Not only does she help when asked, she also volunteers to help. Rose is a wonderful person. She's kind, honest, helpful, and she's a very hard worker. She strives to do her best every day, and it shows. Amazingly, she does all this and is a great soccer player. Ms. Benedict is honored to be Rose's teacher and truly is a joy to work with. When Rose is not at school, she likes to draw on her iPad and draw on her paper. She also likes to play soccer and play with her dogs and cats. Her favorite subject in school is math and music, and her favorite book is The Lords of the Rings. One thing that Rose has improved on is her math skills. Her favorite memory so far this year is finding out that her best friend was going to be in her class. Rose does not quite know what she wants to be when she grows up, but she has thought of becoming a famous artist or a hairdresser. Congratulations, Rose.
Congratulations.
Good job, Rose. Good job.
Next, I'm going to introduce our middle school principal, Mr. Bianchi.
We have three fantastic candidates, and I'm going to bring all three of them up at once because we don't have their teachers here for comfort, so they can stand. So all three of them will come on. This is going to work great until the 8th grade is the only one standing there. Our first 6th grade candidate. Pinchina Romerang Satin. Rolls right out. She is the kindest, most polite student her teacher has ever had. Her manners set the standards for others to follow. She is always willing to help out around the classroom. She is compassionate towards others, offering her hard work as a kind gesture to brighten other person's day. Her classwork always exceeds expectations. She is a hard worker who never gives up. She expertly analyzes the events and characters in the books she reads and works with diligence to master new skills. She is a talented, creative writer, and she keeps her stories very interesting. She is determined, respectful, kind, quiet, and always pleasant. She is truly deserving of success in education. And then I do a little research on what their name means, and this is an opportunity for parents to say, yeah, this is what my child is like. Her name is compassionate, honorable, unselfish. She likes order in her life, and she is very organized. She's very kind and very loyal. Congratulations to Pinchina for success in ed.
Great job.
Our 7th grade winner is Haley Scarvin. Scouts galore. She gets right to work as soon as class starts. She's very focused on schoolwork. She is determined to do her best every day. She has outstanding attendance. She is a joy to have in class. She always has a smile on her face, and you can tell even behind the mask. She has a snappy dress style also. She's always willing to help classmates. She surrounds herself with a great group of friends who do great things for the 7th grade and the school. The sky is the limit for Haley. Way to go, Haley. And her name is Hero or Wise One. She's protective. She's very responsible, also compassionate. She's very stable, balanced, and loving. Congratulations to Haley.
Got handshake right there.
Our 8th grade winner, Georgia Natchez.
Good job.
She lets her hard work do the talking for her. Not her voice, but it's loud and clear that her hard work does the talking. She values her education. Shows up every day prepared and ready to learn. She puts in maximum effort, and the results are a testament to her work. Always willing to help others around her. She is an incredible photographer and has worked on several great digital projects throughout the year. In 20 years that I've been in middle school, I've watched a number of teams and kids come through. Her group of volleyball players is the best that we've ever had come through Granite Falls Middle School, led by her. She is a fantastic, amazing volleyball player. And along with being a fantastic student also. She is going to do great things at the high school. We are so proud to award her with the Success in Education for third quarter. And congratulations to Georgia. And her name is ambitious, successful, she's realistic, she's very powerful, and you can see that on the volleyball court. Authoritative, she's courageous, a leader, very soft-spoken, and humble. The high school is going to be very fortunate to have you next year, Georgia. You are a fantastic person and a wonderful student. Congratulations.
Mr. Nisley is going to come up for the high school, and as he does, I just want to share that when we're done with our awards, we do want all the recipients to go to the back because we want to take a group picture. We also have refreshments for everyone to enjoy. Mr. Nisley.
It's always hard going last because following my colleagues after what they've done here, presenting their students, it's a hard act to follow. I do want to start off by saying, this is one of the great joys of being a principal. And what I've had the opportunity to do is to sit down with each of the students that are going to meet tonight and actually sit down and talk with them, because I don't think they give themselves enough credit for the things that they do. We give them a piece of paper to kind of write some things down about themselves. And then when I talk with them, and I'm just kind of trying to pull out more about what they do, and I said, it's interesting, what they put on the paper towards what you actually pull out of them and sit down and have a conversation with them. So our first student is a freshman, Trevor Lemont. So if you can come on up. Last slide of our freshman orientation, my assistant principal, Mr. Maynard, had challenged the incoming ninth graders to get involved in school, because those students that get involved in school tend to do better in school. And so Trevor is a good representative of just what we're talking about. So Trevor, for his first semester in high school, had a 3.45 GPA. He's currently taking Algebra 1, Ag Design, Con Chem and Physics, Culinary Arts, English, and Intro to Fitness. He wrestled this year as a freshman at 138 pounds, and he told me his goal is to make it to state next year. He also, and these are the conversations having with him that he doesn't put on the paper, but he enjoys raising chickens and a certain type of fish, a sword-tailed fish. So that's something that he likes to do in his spare time. In helping them get to state next year, he's involved in club wrestling with the Arlington Punishers. He involves himself in volunteering at club meets with the younger wrestlers and volunteering at those to help anything that they need. And then in talking with what his goals and plans are for the future, which I'd love to hear students having a vision and seeing what they want to do after high school. So he wants to go to college and major in architecture, either Washington State University or Michigan State University. So I asked him, how did you come up with those two colleges? And he said that he researched the schools that are known for their architectural program. So he's done a little bit of research as a freshman and where he wants to go. So congratulations to Trevor. I know the next 3 years are going to be outstanding for you. So, Trevor. The next student is Ava Combs.
Congratulations.
So Ava is a 10th grader, and she has a 3.785 GPA and ranks 12th in her class. So off to an amazing start. She's currently taking computer apps, Spanish 2, Intro to Ag, AP Lang and Comp, World History, and Algebra 2. So she's actually ahead of where a lot of sophomores are in the classes that she's taking. She's out for tennis for the first time this year, so she's out loving this weather that we have here in the spring, trying to get out there on the tennis court. But the one thing that amazes me is through her church that she attends a seminary every morning at 6:10 a.m. Monday through Friday. So She's up well before a lot of her peers already getting her day started. So I applaud her for that. She's also a youth group leader with the Church of Latter-day Saints. She also, this is something that I brought out of her in talking with her, that she loves to draw and paint, and she paints a lot of her friends' skateboards. So you see a lot of colorful skateboards out in town. She may have been the one that painted those. She's also self-taught herself to play the piano, and she likes to play Disney tracks, and also she really loves Billy Joel. Likes a lot of his music, so she plays Billy Joel. She's also performed in community theater at church and played Simba and the Lion King. And so she's very well rounded, and also plans to attend either BYU Oahu or BYU Provo and major in psychology to become a marriage and family counselor. So Ava. Next, we have Parker Ellsbury.
Good job.
Well, Parker is a senior, and he has maintained a 3.911 GPA his years here in school, so that's outstanding, and ranked 7th in his class. So congratulations on maintaining that through your almost 4 complete years. He's currently taking English 4, American Civics. He's in BAM. It's an intro to multimedia, financial fitness, and culinary arts. He's a section leader in band, and so maybe you have ever played an instrument. I mean, that's the age in itself. And to be a section leader and be a leader in school and doing that, I commend you on that. He's a member of the National Honor Society. He's a percussionist in band. He attends youth group at his church, the Foursquare Church in Lake Stevens. He's helped distribute food for the Lake Stevens Food Bank last year. He also volunteers to do cleanup and gardening at his church. He's intrigued by plants. He really enjoys plants. He enjoyed taking chemistry and plant biology in school. And after high school, he plans on getting a job and saving money for college, where he's interested in science-related fields. So again, Parker.
Good job, Parker.
Last student, Megan, not with us tonight. She's playing softball, and she's up in Bellingham this evening. But Maya Metabusa is also a representative on the board, and so she attends a lot of our board meetings here and is very involved within our school district. And so Maya is a 12th grader. She has a 3.607 GPA and is ranked 22nd in her class. She's in financial fitness, AP Psych, veterinary science, English 4, and into our leadership class. She's played soccer for 4 years, and where she's been a captain for 2 of those years. She's actually playing softball for the first time this year, so again, very involved in school. She was the marketing manager for our very outstanding food drive that we had this year. She's also the ASB vice president. She also plays soccer for the Washington Rush, so she's involved in select soccer outside of school, how she does all of this. And then she also attends house church also, and then she also loves to paint and draw, and so she especially loves to paint animals. She volunteers, and this is an interest that she had gotten from her mom, but volunteers at the Zazu Bird Sanctuary, cleaning bird cages. And she plans on playing soccer after she gets done here in high school, in college, and pursuing a career in education as a kindergarten teacher. So hopefully we can get her back here to Grand Falls. And she is looking at York College and also Everett Community College. That's a possible landing place. So again, Maya Metabusa.
Our last school tonight is with Ms. McVeigh in Crossroads.
Okay, so my first success in education recipient is Tatiana Almay. so Tatiana started high school at MP. She was excited from the beginning. She had a history of being extremely conscientious about her grades, did well academically, played volleyball. Yeah, Tati's mom drove her to all of her practices and drove her to school and did all those things with her. And then her mom got diagnosed with cancer and everything changed. Tati did not like seeing her mom sick. And so she started avoiding home a little bit. And that avoidance led her down a good path for a while. She got into the wrong crowd, started making some poor decisions, and she was being manipulated and influenced by other people, and ended up sort of losing herself. She stopped going to school, spent her days taking care of this group of so-called friends, hanging out. And about 6 months later, her family became, they were concerned that they wanted to do an intervention and talk to her. And then, that really changed everything. But then her turning point, she said, was when she watched her mom shave her head. That's when it clicked. And she was an emotional wreck. She had been severely bullied. Those kids can be really cool, right? She was having lots of panic attacks all the time, and thanks to her sister Jenny, she got help. She was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and started learning different tools and strategies to help her get through her numerous panic attacks every day, without medication. She liked to teach people about it, so those things without taking meds. So she ended up enrolling in a program in Marysville, but it wasn't really a full-time school, and she wanted more. She wanted to learn, and she wanted to be in a school where she could prove to herself that she was more than what other people thought she could be. She had heard about Crossroads. She had a friend that she brought to school once in a while and wanted to prove to herself she could do it. So she enrolled during the thick of COVID, but really got connected during our summer school. So we had an in-person summer school last year, and I found out then that she spoke like 5 languages, and just it was pretty amazing. I'm like, okay, here. So from that moment, she really was unstoppable. She says that that's a lot of that has to do with her dad, who has always been there to pick her up when she falls. Tatiana now has a grade point of 4.0 grade point. She's our ASB president. She's a member of journalism, helped start our newspaper, named our newspaper. She's organizing voices, helping to organize voices of youth. She's applied at the New York Film Academy. Actress, but also her backup plan, she has UW and ASU, because she could do forensic psychology or marine biology. So she's self-proclaimed granola girl at heart, who spends her spare time working at Starbucks as a barista trainer. I don't get coffee every day, so I don't know what comes next. And according to her girlfriend, on days she's really stressed, she goes before school to the forest and literally spends time hugging at the trees. Tatiana is an example of a person who knows there will continue to be roadblocks on the journey to success, but the roadblocks will make it that much better. Because at the end of the day, she's defeated all the trials and tribulations that were once holding her back.
Great job.
Great job.
Yeah, okay. Chad's named our 9th grade student. He was a student, but he didn't show up very often. We didn't accept 9th graders very much, very often at that time. I think he might have been on 9th graders. And I initially said no, but his mom thought, and I'm really glad that she did. He had been struggling at the middle school with attendance as a result of writing a tumor on his pituitary gland that was causing lots of problems that I won't get into. but it was making him really sick. So his first year, he was actually absent or before. And then during his sophomore year, he said what helped him like was the second connect teacher, Mr. Rose, decided to have a serious talk, and the way Chas put it, Mr. Rose slapped me with reality. So at that point, we started coming to school every day, got involved in leadership, voices of youth, helping with the food drive, community education night, Trevor Day, literally we went everything. He went presented it to the council with me, like if I needed something, I got. He was always there to help. He served as both the ASB treasurer and ASB vice president, and is being accepted in the National Honor Society this year. He's a running start, so he's not an ASB officer. He's a running start. He works on weekends in Woodinville at New Heating and Cooling System. All right, I asked Mr. Rose to tell me about Chad, like what something I could say. He said Chad was thrown into one of Crawford's most dependable and self-reliant students. And Rose was a goofy, forgetful freshman who needed to daily checking in on, and that is what Check and Connect is for. He's now thriving at Running Start, and I know to trust that he will stay on top of schoolwork, and I have not a second thought about his day or the success that he's getting out of this world. In his spare time, Chad enjoys two things: working out and helping people. Anytime we were on during COVID, anytime we had like Zoom meetings for Voices of Youth, he was multitasking like 50 ways that season. I've been able to count on him anytime he get involved in helping others. He says he loves giving back to his soul food. Chad's been accepted at the University of Hawaii. So he plans to work towards becoming a clinical psychiatrist so that he can help people with mental health disorders live the best lives possible. Thank you, Chaz. You helped me progress better. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Great job.
Job.
Great job.
The staff awards. The first two actually come from Monte Cristo, and so I'm going to have the Monte Cristo team come back up.
All right, the first award we have is for our classified staff member in the district who's won our third quarter Success in Education Award, and this goes to Elizabeth Fish. Favorite thing is standing in front of big groups, having people talk well about her. So, but she's so deserving of this award. Mrs. Fish is our behavior support paraprofessional at Monte Cristo Elementary and helps us manage our success room. She's worked in our building for about 3 years. She's resourceful, supportive, and a strong, quiet leader in our school. She has a special way of reaching the students, helping them regulate their emotions and navigate and reflect on their behavior choices. She provides reteaching on behavior expectations, and she's a creative problem solver to help our students be successful in school. Mrs. Fish is a trusted staff member with all of our students, and many seek her out for extra support when they're having a hard day. They have experienced her patience and compassion firsthand. Mrs. Fish communicates with staff members throughout the day so that teachers and administrators know what is happening with their students. She maintains their discipline data, and one of her strengths is just how organized and detailed she is in her documentation. In addition to her ability to support students, Mrs. Fish is a problem solver that helps our school run efficiently. She collaborated with our school counselor to provide staff training for our student supervisors, to teach them de-escalation strategies and ways to help with behavior on our playground and in our lunchroom. She works hard to organize our student dismissal routines and is constantly brainstorming strategies to improve the challenging layout of our school parking lot. I think even over Christmas break, she said, hey, I was looking on Google Earth, trying to see how we could redo the parking lot. Always thinking about how she can help. She's willing to step in wherever she is needed and displays great dedication to her job in our school community. Liz Fish is a humble servant leader and an incredible asset to our Monte Cristo school community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Ryan Mullen is our next recipient. Mr. Ryan Mullen is a fifth grade teacher at Monte Cristo Elementary and is highly deserving of the Success in Education Award. Multiple colleagues made nominations for him to the board, and I have the privilege of not only working with him, but getting to share with you today many of his fine attributes as a teacher. Mr. Mullen has taught in our school district for 27 years. In the past, he has taught at the middle school, has been a highly skillful teacher, taught in our virtual academy, and has taught both fourth and fifth grades. Mr. Mullen is keen, supportive, and a dynamic teacher in our school. Yeah, for problem solving, teamwork is exceptional. Mr. Mullen puts a high priority on student safety. Mr. Mullen has immense patience while teaching his field. He's always doing that extra step to make the lessons for the students interactive and altogether fun. In the classroom, he is skilled at bringing to life instructional content in a way that improves student engagement. Along with Mr. Mullen's dedication to students, he collaborates with his team at Monte Cristo to the fullest. He works hard to meet the needs of his students, both inside and outside the classroom. Mr. Mullen's ability to be open-minded and compassionate with his students is admirable. He is a huge asset to our Monte Cristo Elementary School community. Congratulations.
Appreciate you, Mr. Mullen.
Congratulations.
Last award tonight, with other staff members, I'm going to have So this is what I call the Buckler Award. It's a superintendent's award. And for those who haven't been at a successive ceremony before, this is something I brought when I came to Grand Falls as a former hockey player and fan all my life. A mucker in hockey is someone that does the tough work. They go into the corners, they go to the boards, they check, they hit the puck, and pass it to the scorer. The score. So I give this out at these times because we have so many people that go unrecognized. They do the tough work. They do the tasks that go unseen. So let me tell you a little bit about me. He is a case manager here at Crossroads. Some of you might be wondering what a case manager does. You know the line on the job descriptions that says other duties as assigned? That's her entire job.
In all seriousness, the case manager is an advocate for both the school and the student. And someone in this position helps remove the barriers from a disengaged student. Barriers may be the lack of some basic needs such as hunger or shelter, the lack of transportation, interpersonal conflicts, whether it's within the school or the family, dealing with difficult family situations, mental health issues, lack of interest in school. Whatever the barrier is, he is actively engaging with the disengaged to get them back on track in school. A couple of months ago, her principal, Ms. McVeigh, who was just up here a minute ago, was visiting with me and Mr. Cruz and was concerned about the low enrollment. And she was, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to sustain this. I'm really pretty nervous. COVID had created such a chasm. We had students who were already somewhat disengaged. It just gave greater reason not to be engaged for some of the students from school and schoolwork. Bridget D, and I'm sure a whole team from Crossroads made it their mission to get these missing students back into school. Dee was the key mover in making that happen. Crossroads right now is at one of its highest enrollments, and that's worth applause. It might be a ride to school, or a ride to a doctor, delivering a meal, helping a student with homework, or simply just being there to listen to a student. And so much more. Whatever the work is, that's where you find Dee. I'm proud to have Dee as a colleague and to present her with the Mucker Award.
Thank you.
So that concludes our success in ed, but we still have a couple of tasks that we need to do. In the back is Mrs. Raymond with the camera, and she would like all recipients tonight to go back and have a group picture. And then, of course, we'd like you to stay and have some refreshments. I know on the board, we want to take a
15-minute
break, and we're going to be back in session. But we hope you just get a chance to mingle, have a picture, enjoy some food, and thank you so much for coming out. I just want to celebrate your sons and daughters and our son, and thank you for coming tonight.
All right, welcome back to our school board meeting. We're going to move on in our agenda to item 2D, board comments. We'll go ahead and start with Director Carey.
Well, it's great to see everyone's smiling faces again. Excited about that. I love success in education. Definitely one of my favorite nights. I want to give a huge congratulations to the Mountain Way Success in Ed winners, Avery, Faye, and Elena. The MCE Success in Ed winners, Chloe, Mason, and Rose. The middle school, Pinchonette, Haley, and Georgia. High school, Trevor, Ava, Parker, and Maya. Crossroads, Tatiana, and Chaz. As well as the staff Success in Education winners, Elizabeth and Brian, Mr. Moen, and of course, the Mucker Awards with Dee. So great night. That's all I've got.
Awesome. We'll go to Director Kincaid.
Just awesome to see everybody tonight, see everybody's faces like Director Carey said, and just congratulations to all the Success in Ed winners.
Director Ledoux.
Yeah, this is an awesome night to be welcomed in by everybody. So this was super exciting. I've been super encouraged by all the positive feedback and stuff from the community as well. So this is a very exciting time to be jumping in, and this just really embraces that community aspect that I love so much about Granite Falls. So excited to be here and excited to continue to all work together.
Awesome. Dr. Beach.
It's different to sit over on this side. Anyway, here I am. So again, just congratulations to those that received awards tonight, but I also wanted to put a plug in for voting yes to support our levies that will be coming up. We really need the votes turned in, the ballots. It's not just voting yes, but also turning in those ballots. We need those ballots turned in, and we need the support for our students. It supports everything from our, keeping the actual lights on and the power, the water, and the sewer and the heat, but it also is all the extracurricular, football, marching band, sports, and those things. It's our aides and our support. It is a lot of our support staff, including our grounds, IT people, and I just, please support the schools. Please turn in the ballots.
Thank you. So a couple things I want to say. Last night was freshman orientation. I have a high schooler next year, which is weird to say. I don't know if I'm excited about that or not. Peter and I were talking about whether we're excited about that or not. But orientation was put on by the high school for the incoming freshmen. It was wonderful. I want to thank everyone involved with that. It was a great event. My son was really excited to get a walk around the high school with his friends and see what he's going to do next year. And to echo Director Veach, a lot of the stuff they talked about was the cool extracurriculars that they can participate in, and the cool elective classes that they can choose to take during the day. But there's a caveat that, those aren't funded by the state. Those are funded on the local level. So that levy, that passing that levy just enhances our children's education. So I really encourage everyone to vote yes on the levy. And then, of course, I want to echo Director Carey as well. I love Success in Ed, and everyone else actually always said this, but Success in Ed is the highlight of our board meetings, to get excited students in here who are excited about school and parents excited with them. I think it's the best part of Granite Falls, and I appreciate all the effort that goes into that behind the scenes. I think a lot of times we always congratulate the students, rightfully so, but there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes with the different principals and administrators. So thank you to everyone involved. Moving on, we're going to item 3, district reports. 3A is superintendent report presented by Dr. Middleton.
I don't have a PowerPoint, but I will certainly make my notes available for people to review and after I share this with you tonight. And what I put in board docs, of course, are some of the highlights that I wanted to talk about. First was latest health updates. And certainly the mask mandate was removed on March 13th. We really made it a point to assure our community and our students and staff that this is optional. If you want to wear a mask, great. If you don't want to wear a mask, that's great. And it really, truly is a option of the individual. Some things I wanted to bring you up to date on. Most of the restrictions have been lifted. They're now falling into more recommendations. There are 3 key changes that I wanted to share with you. The first one, and this is significant, if a student or staff member is exposed at school, meaning what used to be, that close contact for, 15 minutes within, 3 or 6 feet, that has gone away. So if there is an exposure, the staff or student, as long as they're asymptomatic, they do not have to quarantine. They can remain in school, they can participate in extracurricular activities. So that's a real shift. The second is, if there is a positive case, the student or staff does need to isolate and until the symptoms improve and fever is gone. The earliest return for a positive case is day 6, and that's if everything is improving and fever is gone. But they can only come back on day 6 if they're willing to wear a mask for days 6 through 10 or show a negative result. So they would have to have that test after day 6 or on day 6 or after. And if it's negative, and it could be a home test, could be a clinic test, and that gets them back in the door. If they choose not to do either of those, then they're out for the 10 days. And then the third is if there is a positive case within a classroom or within a school environment, there must be notification to the staff and to the families of the students in that class. That one's pretty easy at elementary. It's a little bit more complicated at high school. And honestly, these are, the guidance was first presented last Monday. The logistics is still being worked out at both the Snohomish Health District and down to the school districts. So those are the latest on the health guidance. My second point was on facility master plan. BLRB was the architectural firm that was selected to do our facility master plan. And we have been meeting with them about every 2 weeks. And that's consisted of Director Carey, Mr. Cruz and myself, just to talk, what's the overview. And they'll be coming on site over spring break to do an assessment. Now they have a lot of information. They have the required sort of cursory assessment that was done a year ago. They have our demographic report. They have our earthquake assessment report. They have our roofing report. So they have a lot of information. They don't have HVAC and electrical, so they do need to come into the building and they want to knock that out in a couple of days. And then once they compile all that, they will come back to this board. But what we really want to see happen is having a stakeholder committee, facility master plan stakeholder committee that will work with them to look at their assessment and say, okay, what's the highest priority? What's it going to cost? How long is that going to last? What should we be attending to first? What's the cost to it? And let that committee help drive some of those decisions. So that's what's coming. Right now, again, we're still in the initial stages since we just really reached that agreement with them. So, and that next meeting is tomorrow. And so we'll have regular reports now as we proceed. Let's see, a couple of upcoming events. We're going to hold 2 informational levy events. One will be virtual, and that's on March 31st at 6 p.m. And then on April 11th, we're going to do an in-person and streaming presentation right here in this room, also at 6 p.m. And I'll be asking you to join me in that and perhaps even help present. So two upcoming events on that. And that, of course, is on top of the regular information we're sharing with the community through social media and just information out for the community in different formats, Facebook Live. And let's see, on the April 20th board meeting, which is our next meeting, we hope to come back and present to you what our plans will be for the summer when it comes to addressing some of the learning loss that our students have experienced, because we need to have a much more robust, aggressive summer school or intervention. And we have some ideas on that. And so we're looking forward to sharing those with you in April. Then the last thing is, what are the bags all about that are at your spot? January was Board Appreciation Month, and I think we got tied up with a number of other things. I know we did a proclamation, but we didn't get our board gifts to you. The lunch bags we actually provided for all of our staff as part of this past week was PSE Classified Appreciation Week. And of course, we've shared those with our certified, well, all of our staff, but inside are just some other goodies for the board. As I said, in January, there's a tough position to fill, but I appreciate all 5 of you willing to heed that call and be part of this system. And really, nights like tonight are the reward for the other nights when you're making tough decisions and it's not as pleasant, but tonight was just a great night. So again, just thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Middleton. Any questions for Dr. Middleton? Comments?
I've got a couple of comments just real
Yeah,
quick.
go for it.
So like Dr. Middleton spoke about the facility master plan, which is a big deal for our school district. We've got a lot of deferred maintenance that needs to be addressed, challenges with existing equipment. It's great to have BLRB on the team. I just want to put in a plug again for people to sign up for that master plan group, because that's really going to help us as we kind of purse through that information. BLRB is going to state, but I'll say this, and not to sound like a broken record related to the levy, but obviously that conversation is diametrically different based upon a levy failure, right? There's the availability of our funds to do boiler repairs and to do those things is also going to be significantly negatively impacted. However, one thing that recently happened that maybe some people don't know is there's a really passionate, fired up resident of Granite Falls who is passionate about the work that we do here in Granite. And, I'm big on Granite, care of Granite, and who donated, I think, $10,000 to the Vote Yes levy campaign. So this is really going to help as we spread the message about the levy. And as Director Beach very adequately said, people vote yes on it and we get those votes back. So I just wanted to throw those two things in.
Any other comments or questions for Dr. Middleton? No. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to item 3B, board reports, WIA, legislative and community report. I'll take WIA still. We haven't got that position filled yet. I talked with Mr. Maynor. There's not a whole lot going on. Major concerns with whether we're going to be able to have fall sports with the levy is his major concern right now, but hopefully we won't have that problem. We'll get the levy passed and be able to offer the extracurricular that students need. So that's all I have for WIAA. Let's move on. Are there any questions? Move on to legislative report. Director Carey.
Yeah, so we've reached the end of the 2022 legislative session, and there were a couple of bills. I'll touch on 2 or 3 bills that were passed through the legislature, and then kind of talk about next steps kind of real quick. So one of the bills that's certainly going to have some positive impact for us, but I would call it, small in scope, is there is an increase, HB 1664 passed. I'll just read you that bill. So that bill increases the minimum allocations for nurses, social workers, psychologists, and counselors in the prototypical school funding model over 3 school years. So if you guys have ever been to a meeting before, there's a ton of videos where I give a really in-depth description of the prototypical funding model, the challenges with it, and all of that. But they are going to give some increases. So it designates certain staff positions as physical, social, and emotional support staff, and specifies that the superintendent of public instruction may only allocate funding to the extent of and proportionate to a school district's demonstrated actual ratios of PSES, or emotional support staff. Requires that funding for PSES staff be prioritized to staff with a valid educational staff associate certificate. So in that prototypical funding model, kind of those nurses, social workers, psychologists phased over 3 years, there's going to be some increasing in the ratio. That's undoubtedly a positive thing, but it's certainly not going to fully fund those positions. It's certainly not going to fill the gap of what we need. It's certainly not going to, still not going to pay for 1 full-time equivalent nurse. As we talked about, we have 3. It's not going to do the things we really need. And even then it's kind of phased over 3 years, but there's certainly some positive movement there. And I'm encouraged that the legislature at least acknowledged that there were some challenges with that, with the ratio related to in the prototypical school funding model. So House Bill 1590 passed, and so that is the House bill to provide enrollment stabilization. So just as a preface before I talk more about this, I am pro enrollment stabilization. I think that there is that school districts need support that have significantly lost teachers and staff due to losing enrollment over COVID. However, with that said, The bill does not make a requirement that students or that teachers are retained by schools. So you can theoretically be a school district who lost enrollment. You could theoretically lay off that staff relative to that enrollment loss, and then you would still get paid by the state legislature for enrollment stabilization. So you're double dipping. You're getting the additional funds, and you could theoretically lay off teachers and staff. Again, I'm pro it, but so the other thing is that this bill, as I've talked about at the last meeting, just as an example, and this is just an example, this bill represents approximately $2 million of additional funding for the Arlington School District. It represents approximately $3 million of additional funding for the Marysville School District. And it represents approximately $4 million of additional enrollment for the Monroe School District. However, small school districts like us that actually went up in enrollment during COVID and did not go down, we will receive exactly $0.0 from the state for this. So, you know, the system still doesn't provide for districts like us, small districts that have huge gaps in the amount of money that we get from the state via faulty calculations like regionalization factor. So, but just to read you some more about this bill. So the enrollment stabilization provides enrollment stabilizations amounts in the 21-22 school year equal to 50% of the difference in combined state revenues using 2019-20 enrollment and 21-22 enrollment if a local education agency's combined state revenue generated in the 21-22 school year is less than what combined state revenue would be using 19-20 enrollment. As I said, it doesn't apply to us because our enrollment went up. Authorizes the use of 19-20 enrollment values to calculate enrichment levy limits in the 23 calendar year and to calculate local effort assistance in the 22 and 23 calendar years. Okay, not great news there, but that is granted. We do more with less. That's kind of the way we go. So House Bill 1723 passed. So this is one I haven't really talked about before, but this is a good thing, especially for the really inequities that we see in access to broadband, especially for our families that live out in the loop. I know I live 3 miles down Jordan Road. Comcast runs straight down Jordan Road, but it doesn't go approximately the 1 mile up to my house. So broadband, even for, you know, is even a challenge for me. It's certainly a challenge for anyone living on the loop, certainly a challenge for people down Burn Road. So House Bill 17.3 requires the state broadband office to develop a state digital equity plan and provide a report to the governor and legislature by December 1st, 2023. That includes the state digital equity plan and certain related information. Makes modifications to the community technology opportunity program, including renaming it the Digital Equity Opportunity Program and redefining its purpose to be the advancement of broadband adoption and digital equity. It also established the Digital Equity Planning Grant Program to provide grants to local governments, institutions of higher education, workforce development councils, or other entities to fund the development of a digital equity plan for a discrete geographic region of the state. It codifies the digital equity form and adds a provision allowing funds to be used to compensate for any work done in connection with the form. Additional persons who, with lived experience navigating barriers to digital connectivity. So, you know, creation of a plan is not necessarily going to, you know, install fiber optic cable or do those types of things. However, there was a grant that Snohomish County was able to receive I actually had a great conversation with our Councilman Nate Nearing, as well as Councilman Sam Lowe, related to some expansion of broadband services that's going to do. They're still going to get me some information specifically on neighborhoods and what areas in Grand Falls will be impacted for that. But the good news is there definitely will be some expansion of broadband service in the Grand Falls area, from what I'm being told. Okay. So just one last thing, I just want to talk about next steps. So now in this time outside of session, one of the WASDA now turns to really looking at its legislative platform. So April 1st through 20 is when we as board directors start to review WASDA's 239 positions and ask them to modify or add new positions, or hey, we've addressed that, you can take that off. They've got a pretty succinct voting way where, you know, I as your legislative rep If I obviously have the will of the board, we'll go and attend the meeting and vote on these positions. It's really good. WASDA is helpful in kind of moving the needle and making needs known, needs that kind of fit into these positions. So there'll be more information kind of coming out about that. In the past, I've seen us do it a couple of ways, seen it in the past where basically the board empowers me as your legislative rep to essentially, vote my conscience based on, those positions. I'm certainly fine with that. We could certainly do more of a quorum where we discuss and we vote on every individual. Yeah, I'm good with it either way, but I just wanted to let you know that that's coming up and that window opens April 1st through 20th.
So we would need to give you direction tonight because our next meeting is the 20th.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so.
So board, this isn't a vote. This is just consensus. So tell us how you feel. Like I'm personally fine letting Carl vote the issues. He knows the issues. He's done the work.
And Director Butler's done it for us.
I've done it
before in the
several times,
past. Yeah, for us as well. So.
Sounds good.
And so what these are, I know Director Ledoux, you might not know, the WASDA, the Washington State School Board Directors Association, they have a political platform with a list with how they feel about certain issues across the board. And so what this meeting is where they might change them or add them or delete them.
Revise
them.
Yeah.
So we just need a representative to go and just put our 2 cents in. In the past, we let the legislative rep do it. And since they put in the work, they know the platform and they know if there's something super controversial to reach out to us.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm personally fine with that. Dr. Beach. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Any questions for Director Carey? All right. Community report. Director Kincaid.
So for the community liaison Facebook page, levy posts are starting to roll out and will roll out more frequently now that I'm not sick and dying. And thank you to Director Carey for answering a bunch of questions the other day. You were on the ball way faster than I could even I was typing and you were just going. So thank you for that. Now that we have Peter, our final board member, on board, working on the Our Story rollout, I've been doing some research looking at other districts because there's some other districts that have been doing kind of that idea. One is my alma mater, King's Schools and Shoreline. They've been doing these kind of My Story things has kind of been inspiring us staff and even students and alumni. So that's been kind of interesting. And then kindergarten roundup is also coming up next week, I think it is. So posts on that are going to be going out. I've had some really good feedback with parents. They're really excited about the more information coming out and are reaching out, talking about levy issues and other things such as bullying and all that kind of stuff. So it's been really good feedback. So.
Any questions for Director Kincaid? Board? Thank you so much. Before we go to our next item, I would like to make a motion. I make a motion that we add under new business assignment of board position and school assignments, specifically to assign Director Ledoux to a school and a position. Motion is made in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, awesome. Melanie, did you get that under new business? Awesome, thank you. All right, we're now going to go to items from the floor. We do have several people signed up, so the quick reminder, I'll go through some of the policies, the procedures for items from the floor. Where is that? The board may allow a speaker to take up to 5 minutes to speak. And then if there's a large number of individuals or groups that are to speak, the board may allow a time of only 30 minutes. We're not going to be that. When called forward, individuals will identify themselves and proceed to make comments within the time limits established by the board. The board is not obligated to respond to questions or challenges made during the public comments period at the board's silence. And the board's silence will not signal agreement or endorsement of the speaker's remarks. The board may control the time, place, and manner of public comments. The chair president may terminate an individual statement when the allotted time has passed and may interrupt a speaker to require the same standard of civility that the board imposes on itself. Examples of uncivil comments include comments that are libelous or slanderous, unwarranted invasion of privacy, obscene or indecent pursuant to the Federal Communications Act or any rule or regulation of the Federal Communications Commission, violate school district policy or procedures related to harassment, intimidation, bullying, or discrimination, incite an unlawful act on school premises or violate a school lawful regulation, or create a material and substantial disruption of the orderly operation of the board meeting. The board as a whole has a final decision in determining the appropriateness of such rulings and can maintain order by removing those who are disruptive. However, the board recognizes the distinction between uncivil discourse, which will not tolerate, and comments about the board, district, and/or staff that are negative yet still civil in nature, and will exercise this authority to maintain order in a content-neutral manner. So those are the guidelines we have. Pretty much everyone has 5 minutes. We ask you to be civil. Other than that, we welcome public comments. So first signed up, we have Ryan Witten. If you please come identify yourself, and then, so how this works, I just have timer on my phone, 5 minutes. I'll give you a minute warning if you'd like. And then.
Would you like me to stand here or?
Do we have them on camera right there? Yeah, you're on camera. Is that what you like?
Okay, so,
Yeah, it's right there. So you ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, go for it.
If it's all right with you, I'd like to tell a story for 5 minutes. I knew a little boy that grew up in Granite Falls, and we're going to call him RJ for the sake of protecting his privacy. RJ experienced a lot of unthinkable trauma as a child, things that probably a kid should never experience. No kid should experience trauma, but the level of trauma for this child was far greater than what was imaginable. He watched his father abuse his mother, struggle with violent addiction that prevented his dad from being the father that everybody knew that he could be. Because of this, RJ suffered. His academics suffered, his behavior suffered. Elementary school was tough for RJ. It was many tears, many difficult days, a lot of extra support from teachers and support staff, such as paraeducators. You see, RJ was actually a very bright young child. RJ had been identified as highly capable, ironically, but because of the risk factors in place in his life, he struggled to thrive how he should have. Made it through middle school, but really only because of a great wrestling coach that held him accountable and the opportunity to play sports, specifically track. He's really good at that. He's very fast. When RJ reached high school, he battled depression, suicidal tendencies. He found solace in his technology classes with certain teachers, playing sports such as football, basketball. He could not and would not have even made it to school at all if it were not for district transportation. His life circumstances didn't allow it. When he became a senior, his mental health worsened, more thoughts of suicide, fighting, lots of trouble. He spent a majority of his time with favorite teachers, teachers' assistants, and a very loving staff member that took an interest in him. The staff member observed concerning behavior from RJ, things like word slurring, poor attendance, a lack of engagement and commitment to school. So after many meetings with this student, some very thoughtful, articulate, highly accountable questions, RJ admitted to a problem with substances, drug abuse. Staff member quickly took action, pulled some strings, organized meetings with his family, became an advocate, the advocate that he never had, to get the help they needed. Little did she know that before she was finally able to get him resources to get the help that he needed before that final meeting, before he accepted help, he had attempted suicide and failed, and was determined on the next attempt to succeed. That final attempt was never made because of the support that he had received, because of the love that he had experienced from somebody in the school that noticed him. After returning to school from inpatient treatment, RJ began to excel in his classes. Great grades, he was proud of who he was becoming. He was put on a special education plan that allowed him to receive extra resources from the district in order to ensure his success and security and safety. He eventually graduated with scholarships, awards, was able to look in his mother's eyes and see something other than concern. Later on in life, he committed himself to helping both adults and children that experience similar circumstances experience opportunity and success. My name is Ryan James Witten. I am RJ in that story. And if it had not been for the extra support that I received as a child, I would not be here speaking to you, I would be in a casket. If this levy doesn't pass, I worry what will happen to the kids like me. What will happen if they do not receive the resources that they need? All of those resources that I mentioned are at risk of extinction without this funding. This funding is for my kids, who are sitting right here next to me. This funding is for your kids. This levy is not about money. This levy is about opportunity. After COVID, my daughter returned to school, greatly in need of connection with, which
RJ,
many of you can probably understand.
yeah, about 30 seconds.
Great.
Okay.
She wasn't able to get a Chromebook, wasn't able to do AR tests, use iReady, education programs that were incredibly important to her success. My son struggles with sensory processing disorder, receives special services. If it were not for his paraeducators, he would still be experiencing the violent consequences of those behaviors, but instead now he's thriving. Your vote can be the difference between hardship and opportunity for our youth. So for the future and dreams of our children, vote yes.
That's done. Thank you so much, Ryan. Next, we have Carol Panegas.
Well, I'm here tonight to, number one, say thank you. Thank you for running this levy again. Thank you for your service to our two new board members. Thank you. I thank you for running this levy again because it gives people like me that second chance to talk to my neighbor, to talk to the people that simply forgot to vote or actually just a little perturbed with you guys sitting there, so they thought they just wouldn't vote. They didn't vote yes, they didn't vote no. They just didn't vote. And now I have that opportunity to let them know what that means. Because an absent vote or a no vote, it hurts the kids that are farthest from educational justice. Doesn't hurt me, doesn't hurt my taxes, doesn't hurt you. It hurts those kids. I've been in education, was in education, I'm retired now, for 45 years. I've been in, just in the state of Washington, I've been in 3 different school districts. I've been in districts when levies passed and when they didn't pass. And the ones that suffer are our kids. Just all the things that Ryan mentioned, the transportation, the special education. You all know, I was in special ed for probably 30 of those 45 years. And 20 of them right here in Granite Falls. Those kids need the services. They need the technology. They need the transportation. They need the paraeducators. They need the school psychologists. We aren't allocated the school psychologists that it takes to serve our children or the speech therapists. The district has to have levy dollars to pay for those. So I thank you again. Thank you very much for running this levy again, for getting all this information out there so that people such as myself can take it and run with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John Nisley. And please remember to introduce yourselves. I keep forgetting to mention that.
My name is John Nisley. So President Butler, Superintendent Dr. Middleton, Board of Directors, Ms. Freeman. I couldn't say it better than RJ set it up here. I'd also like to tell a story. I think, I learned a long time ago, a former student of mine looked me up and remembered how I made that student feel when that student was in school. And I think our students, long after they've been in school, they remember how somebody made them feel versus maybe what they taught them. And so it reminded me when I was in 6th grade and my family moved up to the state of Washington. My dad was my high school principal, and my dad took over on Alaska after they had just had a double levy failure. So as a sixth grader, I remember the impact that it had on the community. I remember there was no sports, there was no transportation, there were no activities. My dad, when he took over, every teacher left. My dad had to hire the entire staff. And as a sixth grader, I remember this. I remember there was no Friday night football games. They actually did, each class had a flag football team. And so on Friday nights, they would play one class against another class. I remember lots of students left the community to go, so they could play sports in other school districts. So many years later, I remember that impact that it had. And I was only a sixth grader and still remember that for my dad as a principal and for that community, a very similar size community to Granite Falls. So next, I'd like to talk about my experience as a first year principal at Granite Falls High School. And with the levy dollars, when I first took over, we didn't have any school monitors. And so Mr. Main and I came, that was one thing we came to the district and talked about the safety and security of our campus, making sure that our bathrooms were safe, making sure our locker rooms were safe, making sure that the perimeter of our school was safe. And so we were given 2 positions for that. And so both of the individuals that we're able to hire have made not only our campus safer, but they're great relationship builders. So they're not out looking for kids to get them in trouble, but a lot of our students look to them because they're an adult that cares, an adult that reaches out and makes connections with their students. And so that's some of the impact that I see if we're not able to pass this levy, then our schools aren't as safe and they're not as open and as friendly and as inviting to our students. So like RJ said, I think about our students, and I think about that our school is that safe place. And as I'm looking to bring social emotional learning class to all incoming freshmen, that would be another impact with the levy. And having a program that provides these soft skills that our students dearly need to help them be able to safely navigate through school and be able to learn how to advocate for themselves and get along with each other and get along with adults. And then all the services that also mentioned that help all of our students feel invited and feel like they have a safe space. And so again, I hope our community understands that it's about our kids and that this is a great community and it's a beautiful place. And I think that now we think that the impact of that second levy that it would have on our community. So just bring that to the attention. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 5, unfinished business. We have none. Item 6, new business. There is one, the assignment of board position and assignment of schools. We have one vacant board assignment and coincidentally one board member without an assignment. So it is the WIAA representative, WIAA, the Washington Interscholastic Athletic Association representative. This is a position where the board member would stay up to date with the WIA and what's going on and present the information to the board so we're all aware for us. I'm willing to take nominations for someone to fill that position. So I'd like to make a motion.
I'd like to nominate Peter Ledoux for the open WIA.
So we have a motion to nominate Peter Ledoux for that position or to have him. All right, so the motion made to have Peter fill that position has been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, you didn't say no, so you get to do it. And then this is not perfect. I'm excited for you to take on that role. I encourage you to get with Mr. Maynor at the high school and he can kind of catch you up on that process. The last thing is assignment of a school. Each board member actually adopts a school for the year. So for the remainder of the year, we'd like you to adopt the school that is, I forgot, what was Director Adams' school, Melanie?
Crossroads, I believe.
Crossroads. Wait,
I don't know. I have them in school.
I have Monte Cristo.
I have high school.
I have Mountain Way.
Crossroads High School, sorry. Kind of process elimination there. So get with Principal Bridget and yeah, get you all set there. All right, and that was not that's just an assignment. It's not don't need a motion for that. All right, moving on to item 7, consent agenda. There is an addition to consent agenda. You should have that in front of you. So I will be accepting a motion to accept the consent agenda with the addition.
Yes, I make a motion to accept the consent agenda with the addition, the March 16th edition.
Motion's been made. Can I get a second on that? Motion made in second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. That concludes our board meeting for tonight, March 16th.